All right, Wayne Bettis here, the founder of the Off the Tools podcast. I just want to introduce you to our brand new sponsor, directplumbing.supplies.com. It is founded by a former tradesman who has set up his own plumbing and heating merchants. He has an online shop, which is obviously at directplumbing.supplies.com, and he delivers across the UK. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show. Don't wait for the intro, like your nice good intro, till we share it. I'm not showing anything yet. Oh yeah, there we are. We're live. Right, I'm going to just share it to the groups, okay? I think you're muted, Francis.
Oh yeah, I just said all good. That's much better because yeah, never mind.
Right, that's pretty much everywhere that we need it to be. There we go. We have Etan in the building. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Nathan is here.
What's happening?
How are we doing?
Good.
You are
Very good.
8 o'clock on the dot. Pretty accurate.
I've been here for 15 minutes.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
the party.
That's dedication for you.
Hey, can I do my big welcome? It's like the only
Yeah.
thing I'm good at on this.
Go on, let's do it. Let's use that American voice. Let's go.
I don't have any good content. I'll leave all of that good stuff to you. All I do is like entertain. So welcome everyone. It's Wayne's World Wednesdays coming right at you from London town and a little bit in the north as well. This is like the highlight of my week, being able to intro Wayne Bettis, the man, the coach, the legend, business professional. And yeah, it's another episode of Wayne's World Wednesday, and it's going to be a hot one because of all of the questions and challenges we saw in the group today. And so, Wayne, I think you're going to have a little bit of a challenge fest in this.
Yes, I had a quick scan over the questions, and I brought my water with me because I think my voice might get sore with this one. But we'll battle through and hopefully help some people and get some good information out there.
Sounds good. So just before we get into the meaty questions, I know that a special person on the call today, Nathan, had a bit of a task last week. And Nathan was I'm gonna just unmute you, Nathan. And you had a task. We were looking at financing options, grants from the government that support small businesses like yours. And your task was to go out and find some info to help us learn a little bit. So I'm curious, what have we got, Nathan?
Right, there was a couple of options that I looked at. Just let me shut the door because the kids' bath's running and all I can hear is bath water.
We have someone asking for the passcode, Francis. Can you do you know what the passcode is? Sorry.
Okay, well, I'll find it. Hold on.
I've got my glass of wine.
Good
Well,
man.
it's funny because all of these people had no problems getting in with a link, so it doesn't actually need a passcode.
Okay. I'll write him back. It
It should be embedded in the link. It's on the group, in the Facebook group, in the event invite. And it's also on the Off the Tools podcast event as well. So you should be able to just click the link and go in there.
Cool. Right. He'll have to find his way in.
I can share it. It's 220861 for anybody who wants to know. No dodgy video bombs, okay?
Right then, Nathan. Yeah, let's get cracking.
Yeah, there was two options we looked at to start with. One was the government kickstart scheme. So I got in contact with whoever, I can't remember where I got the number now, but I just Googled it and I got some information. The government kickstart scheme website, which is on the gov.uk, is just so complicated. You look at it and you think, what? I don't understand it. But when you actually speak to somebody, it's still a little bit complicated. There's two tiers that the government kickstart scheme does. That's for people who are looking at 30 employees or more, or for the if you're not offering 30, if you like I am myself, a small one-man band, just maybe looking at one person. If you are looking at under 29 or less employees, you have to go through an organisation that will do all the paperwork for you. So you
Oh, do we have a problem? I think you've muted.
No, it said the host muted me.
The mouse? You have a mouse?
No, the host.
The house. The house.
The host.
Okay.
So anyway, when I eventually spoke to somebody about it, they gave me a list of people who I could speak to.
Yeah.
Actually, as a small business, it is probably a lot easier because there's places like the Chamber of Commerce for Prince's Trust, and they actually will do all the paperwork for you.
All right, okay.
You have to fill in an application form. Now, the application form or whatever form it is, I haven't opened it yet. Came through yesterday, but I haven't had time to look at it just yet. But basically, you put in your information, what you're after, what you're looking for, and they will actually not find you somebody, but will get you applicants that you can then interview. To start with, it sounded very daunting, and actually it's not. The downside is at the minute, I went to Barnsley and District Chamber of Commerce, and I spoke to them. They've, as I say, have sent me the information. The only downside that we've got on this at the moment is I'm not a limited company. And they want in the application form your limited company number. So if you are a sole trader, it's not that you can't do it, but it might go on a lot longer. The Chamber of Commerce are actually kind of like in talks with the government to try and get around this, because it's very unfair for kind of like smaller people and one-man bands, and if you are not limited to get hold of somebody. The second thing I went to, and this was a Google search about apprenticeships, was JTL. Now, I've been in contact with JTL, and they were slightly, not vague, but they said, right, somebody will be in contact with you. They have an different regions, they have their business managers or apprentice managers, and they will be with you, will contact you back. It may be a week, it may be 2 weeks, and I was left a little bit hung up in the air about that. So I'm waiting for a phone call back from somebody from JTL. Basically, all they said was, it depends how busy we are. Now, with the situation that's going on at the moment with COVID, people not working or furloughed or whatever scheme is in place now. I can understand that a little bit. But the Kickstart scheme, although I was very dubious to start with when I was looking at the government website, actually looks a fairly good way if you're thinking about something like that or taking somebody on to get involved with. They cover the not the living wage. What's the one above the living wage? I can't remember what.
So you have the minimum wage, and then you have the living wage, which is above the minimum wage.
So they will cover living wage. They will cover the pensions. They will contributions, and as far as
For how long is that for?
Well, just from the little bit of research I've gone, and I haven't got it on the computer at the moment, but it's for a minimum of 6 months.
Okay.
So it is aimed at people who are unemployed, recently out of work, trying to get them motivated again and get them in. All right. I haven't filled the application form out yet. As I say, I haven't looked at the application, but from when I've spoken to them, and then because it was a bit daunting, because they said you have to go through a provider, and you're like thinking, oh no, paperwork. Actually, if you do it that way, the provider, like who I've inquired with, which is the Chamber of Commerce, they do all that for you. So they set everything up for you. So that I've looked at the moment, and as I say, the Kickstart scheme is, from the little bit of research I've done, is looking good.
Right. Well, thank you very much for feeding that back to everyone. Hopefully that will help some people, get the ball started with it, because relevant to your business, as a nation, we need to be trying to bounce back from all of this. So hopefully this scheme as a whole across the country will help people like us, business owners, entrepreneurs, take that little next step in the journey while helping other people.
If it's a case of kind of like I say, and I say this to everybody, you kind of like thinking, right, wanting to expand or help or give somebody an opportunity, the Kickstart scheme does seem a good way of going about it. Because at the moment, I'm not saying there's no cost. I haven't looked into it that much, but the majority of the costs you are covered,
subsidized. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated for that information.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get to some key questions today that came out in the group, and we're going to cover a couple of topics that are on everybody's mind. So time management and efficiency, motivation, staying motivated, lead handling, not managing leads, but also how to say no to tire kickers, as we call them, time wasters, and obviously about, how to avoid burnout. So hopefully these are big subjects. We're going to be on until about 9 o'clock, roughly. I'll try and manage the time so we give every topic a little bit of attention. But let's kick off with time management. I want to bring Ross on because I think Ross is on the call. So Ross, can I ask you to unmute yourself, because we're going to talk about your question, or at least your concern. Ross says he's flat out busy with all the right work, but struggling to get everything done. Van is a mess, boiler coats to get out, and he's pretty much up to here with work. So Ross, you want to talk about your situation? Let's see if we can brainstorm some solutions.
Yeah, so this is my second winter, 2018, 19, now 20. So my third winter, solely self-employed, and it's got busier and busier with each year that's gone past. And now I've got my wife working for me 2 days a week doing admin and accounts, etc. But I just can't keep up with it all at the moment. It's crazy busy. I've got 6 quotes to get out now. People are just agreeing to boiler changes, but I haven't got the time to do everything else that I need to do. So I need to find a way of speeding some of the stuff up. One of the problems we've been having is with reconciliation in Xero. When you're reconciling and you've got your bank feed, and then you've got your invoices on the other side in my case, from my CRM, which I use Propeller, we're finding it difficult to identify how those people have paid, and I can't always remember. And then we're having to go right back into the invoice in the CRM to find out how they've paid, to then go back to Xero just to reconcile that one line. And because I do quite a lot of service repair and installs, it's quite a lot of invoices. So that takes a long, long time. But also just general organisation. I am in the throes of taking on an apprentice, which will help. But it's difficult getting the time even to sort out all the paperwork for that when I've got so much else to do.
Yeah. So at the moment then, you're in essence, you're busy doing the job, and then it's not giving you any time to do the quotes and keep on top of the paperwork. Is that where we're at from that first part of that question?
Basically, yeah. I mean, I've been getting home at sort of 8 o'clock most nights recently. So I'll do a whole boiler change in a day and then go out and do some more jobs in the evening, possibly go and do a survey or whatever. And then by the time we've done dinner, etc., it's time to go to bed. And
would you say then that you're struggling to say no to jobs then? So you're saying yes to basically everything, which is forcing you into that position where you're working them extended hours, which are then stopping you being able to do the important things like quoting.
To a degree, but what I'm trying to do is maintain my current customer base.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting a lot of inquiries from new customers needing new boilers, and existing customers whose boiler I service who now need a new boiler.
Yeah. So
it's not that I'm replacing people's taps and stuff like that. It's all relevant to the sort of work I'm after. There's just too much of it.
So short term, could you look at just raising your prices to slow that stem, to buy yourself a bit of a window? So yeah, you might lose a few jobs because of it, but it will just slow, because when the tidal wave's engulfing you, you're just throwing arms around and you're just trying to survive. Whereas if you can just reduce that flow a little bit to ease that pressure, because then you can start to think a little bit more clearer on what it is that you actually want to focus on. So like things like, you're not going to be able to do this by the sounds of it straight away because you've got too much on, but is there a way that you could free up some time to focus on making the way you quote something that you can do on site, or at least in the van before you get on to the next job? So you sort of can go in, quote, sit in the van if you have to, issue that quote, and then move on. So it's not backlogging till later that day, later that week, and then you end up getting pissed off customers that are chasing you. But to do that, you're going to need to create some time. So you're going to have to look at everything that you're doing right now and try and carve out some time. So if that means the next quote that you do, stick an extra few £100 on it. If it comes in, sometimes that's worth the sacrifice if you want that extra money. But if you lose the job, you've then look at it as a positive that you've got a bit more time that you could spend developing that quoting system that we've just talked about, where you could do it in the house or outside. That's really really the shortest fix is that, because at the moment you've got too much coming in. So you've got to stem it like we would as a plumber. If you've got water pissing through the ceiling, you don't start thinking about how to repair it first. You start to turn the tap off to stop the water before you assess, right, where am I at? What am I looking at? What's going to be needed to move forward and not let that happen again? So that's really what I'd say with regards to that. It takes discipline. We touched on it last week, where you have to be strict with your time. So this isn't meant as a derogatory comment, because mine's just as bad, but have a look at your screen time when you come off the phone on your phone. Have a look through and see, right, how many hours am I actually, although I'm busy, how much of it am I wasting on YouTube or Facebook, that you could utilize that time somewhere else? Do you see what I mean? I know we all need to relax and rest, but when the shit's hitting the fan, you have to deal with it, and you have to try and find them bits of time. And if you focus on creating that time, and if you make it important, you will find that extra time. Do you know, you've got no choice, have you? Really, you've got to. So it's more of a matter of being strict. Set out your day. Are you? How organized are you? What's your diary look like? Do you have jobs coming in randomly in the day? Do you have your day planned out? Do you what's that side of things?
It's just chocker at the moment.
And how do you have that information? Is that on Propeller? Is that like a diary system? Is it?
I've got a CRM. Let me see if I can load it up. I've got a CRM that is called Propeller. It used to be called Vansa.
Right. Okay.
And basically, I've used this since about 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So before I went fully out on my own, I started building up my customer base, worked a day job, and then did a shift pattern. And in that shift pattern, I would
sort of grew. You did your own stuff and grew the business. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that side of it is organised, and that's a lot of what my wife does for me. So she'll do it 2 days.
I would say then you've got to. The next step for you is to say no to some things for starters, and bump a bit extra on your prices, so it just slows that flow down, so it can buy you a bit of time to focus on what needs to be fixed in the business. Because if this happens now, what's it going to be like in a month's time if the snow hits and things go even crazier? Do you know, you're going to be working till 10 o'clock at night. Do you know what I mean? And it's just not like, I don't know what your future plans are, but if you want to, like you said about an apprentice, if you want to take an apprentice on, does he want to work in a chaotic situation? Do you know, you need to provide a place that can harvest an apprentice, and then maybe an engineer in the future. So these fundamentals are like the foundations that if you don't start to fix now, and you just accept it every winter, you know that this happens, you're going to just continue to fall down the rabbit hole. I'm just coming a bit closer to see it. So yeah, so you it's a nice diary system. Would you say that, so outside of the work side, like the physical, when you're out and about, are you wasting time? Like, are you in the merchants for an hour, you know, chatting with the lads and all of that sort of thing? And
I'm trying my best to be in and out, but the trouble is the merchants are busy, so I'm at least in there for half an hour. Sometimes I'm doing my own shopping, like I'm behind the counter picking up my own stuff.
Right.
And, right, I'll see you later, guys. I've got this, all right? And they're like, yeah, all right, off you go. So I do try and whiz in and out.
For example, me and Etan, we have a monthly meeting, right? And my target last month was, I had noticed that I was getting into a bit of a chaotic situation where I was just getting pulled from pillar to post. And my month's target, like for the month just gone, was to reinstill that discipline into my diary, to the point where literally I have chunks for everything in my diary. So in the morning, you know, there's a note to fill up my water bottle for the day. There's a note to fill out my planner and my to-do list and my targets. And, you know, I literally create a schedule that that I have to follow so I can fit more in. So like, what time would you say your first job is, for example?
9 o'clock normally.
Right. So tomorrow, I know everyone's tired. I know you're working hard. Okay. I'm not saying you're not. Tomorrow, set your alarm for 45 minutes earlier. Okay. And you've just bought yourself 45 minutes to get what? You could get 3 quotes written up in 45 minutes, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not comfortable and it's not a long-term solution to keep getting up earlier and earlier and earlier whilst you're working and harder. But we need a quick fix. So the quick fix is a little bit of short-term pain of waking up earlier tomorrow and the next day, and you'll have that backlog done. And that comes down to discipline. You have to be strict with that and tell yourself tonight, that's what's happening. Do you know, before I brush my teeth, before I have my coffee or whatever, you might have to have your coffee first, but whatever it might be, that is happening before I'm going to get 3 of them done or 2 of them done. And then the next morning, I'm going to get the next 2 done, do you know, and whatever. And it's more about the discipline of when you tell yourself you have to do it, it gets done. It really is a simple word change of it. Oh, I need to do that, or it has to be. If it has to be done, if there's a deadline, if you even to the point where tell the customer. So the next quote you do, tell the customer, I will have that quote to you within 24 hours or whatever. You know, set your own boundaries, but put yourself under a little bit of pressure to find that time.
Wayne,
Yeah.
can I just say something? Just add something to what you're saying.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, mate. I know it's not my it's your thing. I'm just
No, mate, this is for
Ross,
everyone.
Ross, the problem that you have is like the problem that all of us have had. Like it's the same problem. It's a good problem to have, but something will have to give somewhere. So you've either got to take on more staff. You've either got to take on staff, apprentice. Yeah, great. But you either need a new engineer or you need to like Wayne says, put your prices up to reduce the demand, but you can't continue like you are. Like you're obviously doing something so well that you're a hot ticket, which is a fantastic problem to have. But we've
Definitely.
all gone through it, mate. Like all of us have gone through exactly the same thing. And some people manage to thrive with it and they get out of it. And some people, it kills them, like it crushes them. They burn out. And you have to be strict with yourself. Like, I do not work nights and I don't work weekends. I just don't do it. And I had to find a way around it so that I couldn't do that. And the reason is that my wife would have divorced me if I'd have worked nights and weekends. But, you know, what Wayne's saying is right. Put your prices up, buy yourself some time, and then take a step back and then figure out how you're going to figure it out, basically.
My guess is as well that it's not just affecting like the stress level of work. My guess, and I might be wrong, but are you eating more shit than you normally would? Are you? Yeah. So you're probably gaining a bit of weight. You know, is your relationship under strain because you're not focused when you are at home? Your mind's thinking about microphone fall. Sorry about that, guys.
We're both knackered. By the time I get home, we're both knackered.
Yeah.
My wife's dealing with the kids and planning the work in and doing the invoicing and all the rest of it. And I've been flat out putting back down and running pipes. And
that's what you don't want. You don't want it to put strain on all the other aspects because you have to bring your business has to grow, but so do you as a person, you as a family. It all has to come together. Otherwise it's lopsided and things start to fall apart. You know, you might have a nice big bank balance because of all the work you're doing, but you're 2 stone overweight, for example, or something. Did you know what I mean? It's there is a way through it. That's the key. But the initial problem, I think, is raise your prices and say no to a few things just to slow down and recoup. With regards to the Xero problem, has your wife done any training on Xero?
No, not official training, no.
So my advice would be maybe look for either somebody that you can pay for a bit of consultation on the finer details of Xero. I'm self-taught with it, so I'm not like good at it, but I manage my reconciliation myself. And I had training, you know, my accountant spent some time with me, and there's people out there, there's bookkeepers and stuff that will maybe teach you a few things with regards to how to do it that might not be obvious to you right now. So I would definitely say it's worth your wife spending a bit of time looking for a little bit of assistance. It might cost you a few quid, you know, to get someone in for a couple of hours to sort of go through it on a Zoom call or something like that. But it's just one less stress, you know, that if you can get that nipped in the bud, it's one less thing that you have to think about, that you have to come home to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we're trying to find out why, because our CRM provider doesn't seem to understand it either. So all of the invoices that we've synced across to Xero come from my CRM. When it comes to payment type, it just lists it as bank transaction.
Okay.
But it's not as cash or check or card. But it's not taking that information from
so
my...
you're putting it in the CRM. So you're saying it was a bank transfer or it was a...
So when I'm on site, if they pay me cash, check or card, then it's logged.
Mm-hmm.
On the invoice at the time, I'd say paid however much it is by card or by cash or by check, whatever it is. And that gets done while I'm on site. Obviously, with bank transfers, I can't, because they'll do that later.
Yeah.
And that get logged once it's come up on my bank feed as paid.
Yeah.
Then as a bank transfer. And that just those are easy to cross off on Xero. But the ones that we're struggling with is because they're coming across from my CRM, even though it's logged in my CRM as how they've been paid, they're not coming across in as paid by cash, check or card.
So from a technical basis, do you know, I've not used Propeller. So unless someone else on the call has used Propeller, I don't know the communication level. But could a fix be that you only accept bank transfer and a card payment, for example? So then you've only got the two issues to deal with.
Because cash and check are a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I have started to look into that.
Who are you using for your card payments?
I'm using Barclaycard.
So that's a third party. So we've now got three things that need to. So you've got Xero, Propeller, and the Barclaycard thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has Propeller got like a built-in Stripe functionality or something like that maybe you could do that would take away that initial drama?
It started to marry up with iZettle, but they never pulled it off. And then when I questioned them, they were like, "Oh no, that button's just there, but it doesn't do anything." I'm like, "Why not?"
Right. Okay.
Why do anything?
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm trying to convince myself to go over to ServiceMate, because ServiceMate, the more I learn about it, the more I just think that would be so helpful.
So for example, with ServiceMate, if one of my engineers takes a card payment on ServiceMate, the communication behind the scenes, it marks it does all that work for me between Xero and ServiceMate and the reconciliation. Do you know, all I have to do is press a green button that matches it, you know, and it's literally, we don't get that problem. It takes into account all the fees and it moves that into the different accounts, you know, that like for bank fees and stuff like that. So it sounds to me that Propeller maybe long term might not be, if they can't even get an integrated payment solution. Do you know, is it a long-term solution to running a business from?
Yeah, I mean, it works really well when I wasn't super busy. When I was part-time with it, it was easy to keep up with.
Yeah.
It wasn't really my main concern, so it didn't really matter to me if I didn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
But now that it really matters, I'm limited, I'm VAT registered, and I've got to be up together every 3 months minimum. So I really need things to be easier, especially when things are this busy, so long as to be spent making phone calls to customers to book them in and organise that side of it. So long needs to be spent on site doing the work the last thing I need is to be arsing around with something that's not really working as it should do.
Yeah. So short term, then I think the quick fixes to get sorted are getting up early to get your quote sorted over the next couple of days, and then raise your prices just to stem the flow a little bit. Say no to a few things that aren't emergencies or aren't stuff that you want. Get your wife to do a little bit of training on Zero, but it sounds like maybe it's more of a propeller issue. But I wouldn't say now's the time to look at another CRM system now, because I think you need to get a handle on what's going on right now before you do. But set it down, write it down as a thing to look at over the next month, over the next 2 months, you know, and then hopefully build up from there.
Recession, mate. I'll do it during the recession.
Hey guys, listen, I want to push this along because we have a couple of other topics to discuss. Thank you, Ross. You know, what's interesting about the conversation is that we're talking about the trials and tribulations of business growth. And what got you to where you are isn't necessarily what's going to get you to where you want to go. So the fact that you're having a breakdown at the moment can be a good thing as well, because your business is good. You got too much to handle. You got another set of problems, right? So now it's the next challenge. So I think that Wayne had really great advice for you. So, okay. So our next question is about, motivation. If we can spend maybe 5-10 minutes. Paul Brewster says, staying motivated to do the jobs I've booked in, taking deposits for, when I've got other stuff going on in my life. And I would love to know what other stuff. But Wayne, I know that mindset, energy, motivation to excel is a real important part of your program. So why don't you talk a little bit about motivation when things get tough?
So first thing I want to say is, although I might present myself as being this super 100% positive all the time, sort of guy, I'm not. I'm exactly the same as everybody else. There's ups, there's downs, there's times I wake up and I just think, fuck this, man, I cannot be bothered. But I suppose what I do personally and what I recommend to my people that I work with is you have to build habits that instill that motivation. So, for example, just like my personal example is I have a green smoothie shake every morning in my supplements, right? The days, if I get into a bit of a rut where I'm not doing that, it has an effect on me. I feel sluggish in the morning. I feel, just like less energetic, less bothered. So that's just one simple thing that I do. I know I have it written down on my every night and every morning. I assess my day. Okay, it sounds extreme, but it takes me 2 to 5 minutes each day to sit down. I write a few of the wins. Like for example, today's wins was I sold a couple of boilers and I had a massage. And then in the morning, I'll write out what I want to do that day. And every day I have these daily habits of the green shake and the supplements, the drinking the water. I do a little bit of meditation and stuff, but I ain't going to go fully into all of that yet. But the key is you are in control of how you feel, but it does get affected from your surroundings. So if you're watching BBC News, right, every bloody night, hearing all the negative crap that's going on in the world, and then you're going on Facebook and you're seeing all the local groups, everyone bitching about the neighbours and all of that, the day-to-day crap, then you're going to start to soak that in. You're going to start to feel like that energy is going to get sucked out of you. Whereas, like, I know I'm on Facebook a lot, but I don't consume more than I create, if that makes sense. So I have strict, like, every now and then I get stuck in the old scrolling habit, and then I'm like, whoa, no, I'm going to fall down a little hole there that I don't want to be. And it can be a simple thing, a bit of garage music, right? I grew up at like late 90s, early 2000s, garage music. My son, I put it on in the van the other day. My son was like, I could do that on a keyboard, Dad. He didn't understand it. But anyway, if there's a few tracks that I absolutely love, and if I'm not feeling 100%, I'll just whack that on. Get it going. Get my blood pumping, I might watch some stuff on YouTube, just a motivational video, just to hear some sort of like inspiration. It might not have any direct effect, but I just know it's coming into my brain and into my surroundings, so it just keeps me fired up. Obviously, you know, my little motto, you know, little things like wearing my hat, it's on me, you know. I have to, if I'm going to be promoting this sort of stuff, I have to believe it. So it's all about little things, even to the point where you could stick on your visor in your van if you're on the tools and you're going out in your van every day. When a couple of years back, I was in it's probably about 4 years ago. I was quite in quite a bad way. I had quite a bit of debt, and on my visor, I said I had the amount of money I had to earn each month to survive, and then next to it, I put "I am a leader." Okay, it sounds a bit cheesy, but every day I read that, right, and then I got myself out of over 120 grand's worth of debt. Do you know, I'm debt free. Do you know, and my life's gone on upwards and upwards and upwards, and it's a simple thing, but it's consistency. Do you know, I was consistently, and I still am consistently seeking positivity, motivation, love, you know, helping other people, and it all just feeds back in itself. I've forgotten what the question was.
An interesting topic. Think and Grow Rich. If I can recommend everybody this book, if you haven't read it, Think and Grow Rich. It was written in the 1930s. It is a classic.
Is it Nightingale? Is that who wrote that one?
Napoleon Hill.
Oh, Napoleon Hill. Sorry.
Napoleon Hill. It was written in the 1930s. It's still a bestseller today, because no matter what era or what times or crisis or people or industry goes by, it's about this idea that the successful people who have built something, they do have certain habits. And in particular, they have thoughts which are different to people who are not successful. And by success,
thoughts become your reality.
Yes, thoughts become reality. And it sounds crazy, but if you can imagine, if you're in a low mood, if you have a low biology, or you wake up and it's like, oh fuck, man, oh gonna, that's who you are, and that's what you're gonna get from life.
100%. I think Nathan wants to pipe in there. He's had his hand up for a little while.
Sorry, Nathan. Let's go.
I thought he was going to do cartwheels.
Nathan.
I was, because I want to go back. I spoke to Francis, not yesterday, it was the day before, wasn't it? And I mentioned something that had been said, and it really has a profound effect on me. When I was listening to the Francis has heard this, so it might mute me again. But after the Portuguese Grand Prix last weekend, they were interviewing Toto Wolff, and there was Lewis Hamilton staying or whatever, and they were saying, what happens at your debriefings? They're the best team, they've got the best driver in the world and everything. He says the first thing we do when we have our race debrief, the first question is, what did we do wrong? And the whole thing that really kind of like stuck with me was, they have the best car, they have the best driver, they're however many points ahead in Formula One, but the first question they ask is, what did we do wrong? And I looked at that to think, that is actually not a negative, it's only how we can improve to get better.
Yep, 100% agree.
Such a absolute amazing piece of advice. So it's not what you were doing wrong is a negative, it's looking at what you were doing wrong as in how we can improve. Whether that's a one-man band, a 10-man band, a multi-million business, a Formula One F1 team who nobody can compete with at the moment, but they still look at how we improve. What do we do better? What little bits did we... Lewis Hamilton had a bit of a crap start, actually. you know, so it's what can we do better? And that is such a valuable piece of advice.
And not only that question, it's they're asking themselves.
Yes.
They're not, you know, so it's they're taking ownership themselves. So put that in a smaller scale, and you sitting there watching this, it's you've got to ask yourself that question, you know, like, and you're responsible for creating a more positive environment, for creating a more motivated state, because it's in your head. It's in your head, and you can control that, but you have to control what you put in and what you see and what you speak, even to the point of your words. The words that you use fundamentally reflect what's going on subconsciously. So you have to start looking at the words that you're using. The reason I use the no excuses slogan is purely because I went through a stage where I blamed everything but me. I couldn't look in the mirror and accept that it was my responsibility. I was fat. It was my responsibility. My business was nearly going bankrupt. It was my responsibility that I didn't know my kids properly because I'd spent 3 years doing shit. Do you know what I mean? So you have to control it, and you have to find things that inspire you. Do you know, it could be watching, you know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He has some great stuff, you know, and some little snippets. Every now and then I'll go on and I'll find something, and it's just like, what a geezer. Do you know, it's just like, if he can do that at whatever age he is now, and I can't even sell an extra boiler this week, what the hell am I? Do you know what I mean? So so hopefully that's addressed that motivational bit.
If you think about it and you sit down and just spend 5 minutes about actually what that means, what Toto Wolff is saying there, we look at what went wrong, and you think to yourself, that's a multi-million-pound business there in sport, but actually just then go, all right, it's not that I'm a 100,000, 200,000 person business a year, but apply that in your own business, and you're like you said, Wayne, in your own mindset. Don't blame COVID, don't blame whatever, don't blame, you know, I've got a hangover, and, you know, don't blame I haven't rung somebody back because I'm busy. It goes a little bit to about Ross was talking about sometimes having to say no, or sometimes putting your prices up. But it's a very valuable piece of advice. I don't know, but
I would definitely agree. I would also add, though, that you should always ask what went well as well, and embrace the successes that have come along, and to turn that into the motivational question. Yeah, you know, on days that have been shit and that you've been lacklustered, ask yourself the question: what did I do wrong yesterday or overnight that have led me to feel like this today? And on days that you feel fired up and pumped up, ask that same question: why? What was it? What was the effect? Was it because the night before I didn't drink 5 pints of lager and eat 6 bags of crisps, or whatever it might be? Do you know, you have to look at yourself for the good and the bad. Definitely. Right. Let's. What was the next question, Francis?
Nice one. Okay. Thanks. So I just want to say I posted Arnold Schwarzenegger's most motivation speech from 2018 in the chat. It's something that I come back to again and again. Gets me and Carolina every time. Watch it. It's life-changing, and I highly recommend it. Okay, next question. There's two questions here, and we only got like 10, just over 10 minutes. So let's see if we can just whiz through them. How do I handle leads better and say no to time wasters?
So handling leads is an art. So it depends on the lead. It really depends on the lead. If it's a recommendation, do you know, and it's someone's mum that you've just already fitted a boiler for, do you know, the way I handle, or the way I have to approach that is slightly different to what it would be if it's what I call a cold lead that might have come through a Google ad campaign, or, do you know, if I've done any like a local leaflet or whatever it might be, if they haven't had any prior exposure to me. Did he stipulate which area we were looking at, or shall I just overview both, Francis?
I think just he didn't say what
All right, we'll focus on the cold leads, because I think when you have a recommendation, everything's a little bit easier. So I'll go on the harder one. So if it comes down to how you present yourself. So you can't be flippant with them. If every lead, every potential job to you could be worth thousands of pounds, even if it's a tap washer or a leaky toilet. Potentially that customer is worth thousands, if not tens of thousands to you over its lifetime. So you have to treat every single opportunity at first as your main focus has got to be, how can I make this customer give me a chance to become their plumber, their heating engineer, their electrician, their builder, whatever it might be. And the first step is communication. Straight away, you need to be, knock my mic here again. You have to be better than everybody else around you. So straight away, you want to be getting in contact with that customer across all different channels, text messaging, email, Facebook Messenger, phone call. Obviously, no matter how digital we get, people want to hear a human voice at the end of the day. So the quicker you can get them on the blower and speak to them and start building up rapport, the better. Then it's about nurturing it. So every lead is a seed in my eyes. Okay, they should be called seeds, not leads, in my opinion. Write that down. I want to use that somewhere else. And if you leave that seed, it's either going to get picked up by a bird, and disappear, or it's just not going to die. It's just going to die, and nothing's going to come of it. You've got to nurture it. You've got to look after it, and that means basically you've got to pull your finger out your ass and put some effort in. Loads of people think that they're doing the customer the favor by coming to fix the problem, when in reality, plumbers are 10 a penny. In most towns and cities, plumbing, heating engineers, whatever you refer to yourself as, electrician, whoever's on, you've got to want that job. You've got to want every single opportunity. Further down the line, as you nurture them, if you're on the phone to them, you might pick up some alarm bells that, maybe this customer isn't for me. And that comes down to a little bit of like pre-qualifying, having some questions in place that maybe expose that they're a time waster. There's no right or wrong or easy quick fix to finding a time waster. Every industry has them. They're called tire kickers, aren't they? Some people just like to waste people's bloody time, and it is part and parcel of managing leads. But the biggest thing is what I've just said, is about nurturing them. And once you've sent that quote, how many of you here online on Facebook, how many of you, once you send that quote, do you do anything else? Is there anything else that you do? Do you just send that quote and basically hope for the best? When we send a quote, within 24 hours, they've had a text and an email, and in most cases, they will have had a phone call from our office to say, have you made, like, it's not a selling point. It's more of a, have you got the quote? Is everything okay? How is there any questions? And then a few days later, we're in constant communication along. We have this journey that we take them from cold lead over on the left-hand side. And then there's all these different steps, all these touches of communication and things that position us as a company above everybody else. So when it comes down to them looking at their quotes on that Sunday night or whenever it might be, my price is probably going to be higher than a lot of the local people. But I've built so much trust and reliability in the communications that we have done through the software that we use, from ServiceMate to Lead Hero. They all play a part in building us just that bit better than everybody else. And it takes us, the key for me with it is I never want to be able to sit there and then be able to compare me as an apple with an apple. I'm not an apple. I'm a pineapple. I'm different. I've got fluffy bits and bits coming out of me. I don't want them to be able to compare like for like, because I'm not like anybody else. My company is not like anybody else. So I don't want them to treat me the same as everybody else. And that comes with how I present myself. Again, I keep losing my train of thought, man. It must be because it's late.
That was a really important, very high value piece of content.
Good.
think seriously in the sense that if everybody can just take that nugget away and apply it in their business and just think, how am I different? How am I special? How do I treat my customers? That's so important. To get away from being seen as a commodity.
Yeah, and that's the worst place to be. Is in the bag with everybody else, because then it is down to luck, price, and stuff that we don't want to be in that battle, and we don't need to be. You don't need to be.
And speaking from the customer's point of view, I think this goes for everybody. We like to give money to people who we like. We like to do business with people who we like. And
Definitely.
So building rapport, relationships, caring about your customers, it's not just because you're paying someone doesn't mean it's you versus them. It's actually a human transaction.
Mutual exchange. There's got to be mutual benefit. They've got to see the value in the 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever it might be. And so have you. There's no point doing jobs that you're not feeling the same mutual benefits. Resentment jobs, I call them, and you've probably all done it for your brother-in-law or your mate that you ain't seen for 15 years that calls you a mate when he wants his plumbing done and whatever. and you know how painful they are to get out and go and bloody do them. It's because it's not mutual exchange. There's not a mutual benefit because he might be getting it on one side, but you're certainly not because you're charging half than what you would normally do.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right. I think we got time for one or two questions. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Did Stephen put his hand up? Stephen, did you have a question?
Hi, Stephen.
I didn't see your camera there.
Welcome to the Madhouse.
I'll unmute Stephen. Stephen, you're unmuted. Let's hear you.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Sorry I was late in joining. The little girl took a while to go down. So.
No worries. Welcome anyway.
Thanks. Wayne,
yeah.
See that point that you just mentioned on the journey with a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that from a sole trader point of view, is there a way of doing that journey with a customer without seeming, how could I explain it, sort of desperate for the work, if you like? Because you've got office staff, it sounds very professional setup, but if you're sole trader, you've been out on Monday to quote, you give them you send the quote on Tuesday and then you're following them up. Is there a way of sort of managing that from a sole trader point of view?
First things first, when we're at the job, so whether it's me quoting or my right hand man Nino might be quoting, we tell the customer, we tell them we want this job. We're up front. I say if I'm there, my line will be something like, this is a lovely, straightforward job, even if it's a fucking pig. We really want it. So I'm going to do all my best to price it in and give you the service that you need. So straight away, I've told them I want that job. So what I do after isn't a surprise to them that they get these texts and they get all these emails. But what you said there about me being like having office staff and that, we are only a small company. I have one office lady, I have me, and I have an installer. I have, tell a lie, last couple of weeks ago, we have got an extra installer. So I'm now at 2 installers. So we're not massively big. Do you know what I mean? I'm not many steps away. I've just honed in on what we do good, which is the boilers. And that's where we've sort of focused our attention. But back to the question about appearing desperate. Just try it on the next few quotes. Tell them I like, this is a nice job. I want to win it. I'm going to do all my best to win this work from you. And then when we follow up for them, I always say, is there so you get the customer that might email and say they've not gone with you. I email them back and I say, oh, that's such a shame, but should you need us in the future, we did want to do the work. We're happy to have you come back to us if you need us. I keep that rapport constantly all the way through. Every communication it's not desperation, it's the will. I want our company to do that work for them. And I suppose that there probably is I've never felt that we've come across as desperate. I guess it comes down to the wording and how pushy, because if you're pushy, then that can lead to a little bit more of a desperation, can't it? So we're not like your typical window salesman, like sign here, sign here. We need this. I need the commission sort of thing. So it comes down to the language, the body language when you're around them, the words that you're using in that communication is you want to turn it from desperation to, what's the word I'm looking for like the willingness of wanting to do the work.
Great, thanks.
Does that help? Yeah,
massively. Thank you.
But follow up with me on that over the next couple of weeks. Let me know what you've changed in that. That'll be good to hear.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, mate.
Cool, no worries.
Okie dokie, sounds good. I think we're getting to the end of the hour.
Is that the hour already?
Yeah, it's been action packed.
Wow, gosh.
Stuff, and it's so much fun, more fun when we get input and feedback and engagement from the community. I want to thank you all for joining us, spending some time together on the call. And it's Wayne's World Wednesday. Wayne, why don't you? I'm used to doing the intros. You can do the outro.
So the outro. Again, this is a bit of accountability. We're going to be here as every week. Do you know, this is a regular fixture. The question, whatever questions you have, little, small, stupid or not, you know, we're not going to judge. Everyone is at a totally different stage in life and in their business. So whatever the question is, we'll be trying to answer it. Even if it's a personal question and you don't maybe want to come on air, or you don't want your name mentioned, just send it through on private message. The problem shared is a problem halved, or something along them lines. Something like that, isn't it? I don't know. But
I think
but the one thing I want to leave everybody with, right, is what happens to you tomorrow is down to you. Okay. So wake up tomorrow with a mindset of that you can do whatever it is that you need to get done that day. You can do it. And know what, nothing's going to stop you from doing that apart from yourself. So woohoo! Party time now. Wayne's World.
I'm fired up.
Let's go.
Everyone have a great evening. See you next week on Wayne's World Wednesdays. Have a great evening.
See you soon, guys and girls. I really hope you enjoyed the show. I just wanted to put it out there for anyone listening that I offer business coaching, but also life coaching. My life is centered around something called the 3 Bs, which stands for body, business, and balance. When you work with me as a coach, we tackle all 3 aspects of life. So you as an individual, body, mindset, health, fitness, knowledge, education. Business B obviously stands for your business, improving, maximizing opportunities, elevating, making more money. And balance stands for for friends, family, loved ones, you know, making time for everything in your life. And the 3 Bs is the core element to that. If you'd like to learn more, I would ask you to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you might be consuming my information. Or you can email me directly at wayne@offthetools.co.uk. I'm here waiting to assist you to elevate across all aspects of life. Have a good one. No excuses. Let's go.